Hello, welcome to group number 3, the Fantastic Four's presentation of Case-3-2 Volkswagen of America. The group consists of William Maynard, Shreya Mishra, Bradley Richmond, and myself, Katherine Glett. Today I will be explaining to you the general issues and the main stakeholders involved in Volkswagen of America. Some general issues and general history. Volkswagen was originally founded in 1937 by the Nazi trade union. Ferdinand Porsche designed the very first Volkswagen in Germany, which, as we all know, is the Beetle. Volkswagen actually translates into the people's car. Adolf Hitler had gotten involved in demanding an economically friendly car that could transport a standard family of 4 to 5 people at highway speeds using modest amounts of fuel and within financial reach of the people. The Beetle was one of the first vehicles to be evolved with the aid of a wind tunnel and propelled the company to total worldwide vehicle sales past 1 million in 1955. Volkswagen of America, formed in 1955, was established in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey. Volkswagen United States sales grew to about 600,000 cars in 1970, which was an all-time peak, when Volkswagen captured 7% of the U.S. car market and had over 1,000 American dealerships. Popularity lasts until the 70s, when Beetle's importation was discontinued in the U.S., but still continued to the 1990s in Latin America. It is still one of the best-selling cars of all time. Between 1970 and 1992, the American sales was falling as much as 87%. It had many cycles of ups and downs, which were related to the habit of mid-level managers waiting for new models to rescue them from their present difficulties. Within these cycles of ups and downs is when the Rabbit and the Jetta were introduced. In 2001, a new chairman came in, and he established a new diversification strategy. This new diversification strategy would create a portfolio that matched global markets for vehicles. He decided to group the automotive brand into 2 groups. The first one, Volkswagen's brand group, would be classic and dominant brands which partnered with Bentley and Skoda. The second group, the Audi brand, was more of a sporty car and partnered with Audi, SEAT, and Lamborghini. The main stakeholders of Volkswagen, we have internal and external. For internal, we have, of course, board of directors, which include your CEO and CIO, and your Volkswagen Group chairman. We also have the ELT, which is the executive leadership team. They had the primary responsibility for executing the NRG program. The NRG program, which stood for the next round of growth, was an organizational readiness program whose aims are to define goals, functions, and organization changes required at Volkswagen of America to support and enable the new global product diversification strategy. We also had your standard mid-level managers, BPTO, which stood for Business Process, Technology, and Organization. This was the Volkswagen of America's internal IT department, and they assumed chief firefighting roles as they dealt with portfolio projects. Within BPTO, you have PMO, which stood for Program Management Office, and they took over all the management of all the IT projects. Their focus was to require more planning prior to the project execution phase and to require weekly status reports and monthly budget reviews for all projects. You also have the Digital Business Council, or DBC, and this was composed of representatives from the e-business teams within each business unit and were responsible for categorizing projects, assessing their business impact, discerning their alignment with goals, and making proper trade-off decisions. For external stakeholders, you have your stockholders, people who are invested into the company. You had Perot Systems, which was an IT service provider that assumes responsibility for the maintenance, repair, and operations of the IT production environment. We also had Gedas AG, which was a consolidator of IT operations within the global Volkswagen group of companies. And GetUs USA was the US subsidiary of the GetUs AG. This was established, they established a mandate to charge external market rates in providing services to other Volkswagen-owned companies. GetUs USA assumed responsibility for administering the outsourcing contract with Parrot Systems and would assume responsibility for IT operations at the expiration of the Parrot contract and would also undertake development project work for Volkswagen of America. Now I will pass it on to Shreya for theories and concepts.
Hi all, my name is Shreya Mishra. I'm from Group 3 and I will be talking about theory and concepts and symptoms and problems of Volkswagen of America. To start with theory and concepts, I'll be covering corporate governance, next round of growth, and high-level business architecture. Under corporate governance, I would say that basically this is something that is required in every business enterprise to attain long-term strategic goals, and IT governance is required for the following objectives: attainment of strategic goals, efficient operation, reliable measurement of your products and services, and compliance management of all the business processes. So, organizational behaviors, business processes, standards and measures, leadership roles, and organizational structures are broadly the areas which together form the corporate governance for any business enterprise and thus also for Volkswagen of America. The next round of growth model was developed by Volkswagen of America basically to support its extended product portfolio, and it had expanded its growth from importing 9 models in 2002 to 22 models in 2008, and thus they required this model to support this. So all the subsidiaries, the business units and the extended product centers looked upon this NRG model to evaluate their compliance. And Volkswagen of America evaluated on these 5 objectives: customer loyalty, new vehicle value, stable business architecture, pre-owned vehicle business, and optimizing the supply flow. Then their high-level business architecture model was developed, which would form the blueprint to formalize their corporate governance and to prioritize all their IT projects and their IT spendings. So under this model, they had first focused on a strategy change, that is the global strategic changes which impacted Volkswagen of America. All these changes further affected the business architecture change, that is to implement strategic change the business architecture must be adapted, and then they led to a performance change, that is the appropriate changes to the business architecture enabled the desired performance change in Volkswagen of America. Talking about symptoms and problems, I would say that the following are the symptoms and problems faced by Volkswagen of America. Budget constraints for IT projects, that is their IT was never looked upon as something that is providing strategic advantage, and therefore they did not allocate it proper budgets but focused on more important functions like sales and marketing. Second was difficulty in prioritizing IT options. That is, Volkswagen started prioritizing IT projects in 2004, which required 3 phases of evaluation for each individual IT project. But because managers faced problems to adapt to this new system due to its complexity, it was a problem for Volkswagen of America. Then their old and inefficient system, which thought that IT investments were not required to support the market incentives, and therefore Volkswagen of America was hung with its old system of limited capabilities. Then the unfunded supply flow project, that is projects critical to companies' global supply chain objectives, were partially funded. And then last was IT initiatives were taken by competitors, and therefore Volkswagen of America had no choice but to deal with IT to gain customers' loyalty. Thank you.